All right. You are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 New Orleans Saints. And why are the New Orleans Saints, Nolan Saints, 0-16? Because they suck. And they're not very good this year. Welcome to the Gridiron. Move the chair for my buddy Randy here. Hold on. All right, buddy, come on in, Bill. All right, okay, Randy here. We can begin. All right. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening? I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away, throw in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes. As soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. But plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free. Right, fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you're subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. And then finally, just a little farther down in the description box is the 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The one underneath it, it's a Twitter link, to me anyway. To me, it's always been Twitter. It's Twitter today. It'll be Twitter tomorrow. It'll be Twitter 7 trillion years from now. It's Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on him. I'm not calling it. It's Twitter. You follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back. That's a promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in my the Twitter account every day. And then also, the link just above it, it's a Facebook link. It goes to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a Facebook group. We have over 7,300 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in that group darn near 365. I'm putting stuff in there all the time. I put up a ton of stuff in there today. Not only do I put stuff in there, but the members post stuff in there as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied, I promise. With all that stuff said and done and out of the way with, all right, well, hey, possible some good news, right? Darrell Waller, we have a designated to return from IR now. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean, right? That means his clock is ticking because he had like 21 days. At this late in the season, it's like 21 days. By the time, they have 21 days. If they want to, put him back on the roster, or basically the season will be pretty much over with. So, but man, I'll tell you what, man, there's a few things that when you got somebody like a Darren Waller, right? Now he may not be quite what he used to be. Because obviously with the hamstring injuries, his injury issues and all that. When you get, damn, we were so lucky we got that guy. Obviously, now. If he didn't have the injury issues, would he been available for trade? Maybe. Would we have gotten him for a 3rd-round pick? Maybe a second. Maybe a second. Not a first, but maybe a second. Or maybe a 3rd and a 6th or something along those lines, right? But, if the guy can stay healthy for 4 more games, man, that would be just fantastic, But unfortunately, the rest of his career is going to be battling these hamstring issues. And the Giants have him back next season. I hope they do, right? He's going to miss games next season as well, too. I mean, it is what it is. But you just don't, realize, how wonderful it is just having him on. He's not 25 anymore, nothing like that. But, just his presence on the field, he's another one of those guys. He's like Hyatt, when Hyatt's on the field, the defense has got to take notice. Because you slip up, you take a nap for one play, the dude's freaking past you. I'm not saying he's the greatest wide receiver in history of the Bella stuff. He's fast, right? And I said, you take a nap for one play, he's gone. He's gone. We've seen it happen many times this season, right? So having him on the field, of course, Saquon in the backfield, right? But have him Waller. What's up, buddy? Huh. Have him Waller. How lucky we are, and there's a few things that really, really help out a quarterback, or especially in Danny Chicken Cutlet Parmesan's case, a rookie quarterback, right? A good running game, right? And a security blanket, right? Somebody you can just, hey, there's basically the Empire State Building. I'm going to throw it 452 feet in the air. Either he's coming down with it or nobody's coming down. Just somebody like him. He's a presence out there. They got to take note. Now, whether he'll be in the game this Sunday or not, that remains to be seen. But it's at least that he's designated to return is a nice sign, right? It's a good sign. So let's hope. You can finish these 4 games out. It'd be fantastic. Because Tommy DeVito certainly could use him on the field. That would be freaking fantastic, right? I was hearing, I forgot who. Darn, was it? Who was it? Was it on Big Blue Kickoff Live? Might have been. I don't remember exactly, but the Giants apparently, their complete passes right in the middle of the field. They're in the lower portion of the NFL as far as that. A lot of their passes are maybe to the outside or deep or whatever. A lot of that's might be because we don't have Waller in there, right? He would be a huge asset to the to the Giants offense. That would be a big boost, because the Saints, their running defense, and we're going to go over that, is a little porous, right? They're good, obviously, right? Their secondary is good, but if you can get somebody like him on the field that and get him, at least get him to release or something like that, you might back the secondary up or whatever, or keep them on their toes for just a second. Or it's the same thing like with play action pass. Having Saquon in the backfield is huge, right? Because then if you turn around and you look like you're going to hand it off to him, just freeze him for that split second. That can sometimes mean the difference between a completion or an incompletion, right? But just having Waller on the field, huge. So it's nice to say that once again, he just designated to return. He did participate some in practice. He was limited. Let me go over this. Yeah. Where are we? Nope. Let's see here. Where are we? Injury. Here we go. Injury news. Darren Waller designated to return from the IR. Giants announced Thursday that their designated tight end Darren Waller to return from the injured reserve. This move opens up his 21-day practice window, and the team has confirmed that Waller would return to practice on Thursday. Giants head coach Brian Daboll was asked on Wednesday about Waller's potential availability for Sunday's game against New Orleans, and replied, "We'll see," adding that they would go through the week and determine it at the end of the week. One thing I love about Daboll, how's so-and-so doing? How's that injury coming? Oh, he's getting better. Oh, man. It's basically like the same answer. He's getting better. Oh, boy. There's no word, at least as of this writing. This is from Big Blue View. Okay. They do some excellent writing there. And let's see here. Hold on. Let's see here. Who wrote it? Chris PFLUM Plum, I guess. He's likely to be limited in practice, and the team will evaluate to see how he responds to the increased load. The Giants will want to play it safe and Waddle to avoid a setback with an injury that's plagued him for much of the season. But I mean, I could see, they'll want to, but we got 4 games left. I mean, he's missed however many games. Well, aggravated. What's he going to do? Miss more games? And I don't mean, have him, put him in there and for 50, 60 plays or something. I don't mean that. But, it's like, I mean, that too. I mean, it's like, so if he aggravates it again and he misses some more games, shocker, he's only going to miss a few more games, and then he has all off season to rest it up, right? Until we do it all again next season. Basically it's, hopefully they'll know maybe a little bit more next season as far as, how to not treat it, but how to maybe prevent him from aggravating it as much as he did. Maybe I don't know. Whether you don't have the freaking guy practice at all during the week, you put him out there on game day, and that's it. And the rest of the week he's just walking around. He doesn't run. I don't know, but hopefully maybe next season they might be able to do a little bit better job of preventing it from getting aggravated. We'll have to wait and see. But I mean, they don't want him aggravated again. Well, I mean, all he has to do is aggravate it, one more time. We only got 3 games left. I mean, if he aggravates it again, pretty much the season's over with, right? But I mean, he would sure be a nice shot in the arm. The Eagles' defense is not what it was last season. I mean, the Giants on defense have a hard time stopping the Eagles on offense. Now, I don't anticipate the Giants beating the Eagles in either game. The only way, as I said, I could see them, they're not beating them. I would be shocked if they beat the Eagles in Philadelphia at this weekend, the following weekend. So the only way that they would have, I just feel, because the Eagles are just, you got to play the games. Anything's possible. And the Eagles are not the same team. They have a very good record like they did last year, but they are not the same team. Their defense is not very good. Not very good at all. They lost some guys, right? They lost some guys due to a free agency, and their defense is not as good as it was. And when Jalen Hurts is, he's only getting paid like $3 or $4 or $5 million or whatever it is, something like that. But when it jumps up to $40 or $50 million a year or so, whatever, they're going to start losing a couple more guys, So basically, they're kind of doing what they did when they won the Super Bowl. They had Carson Wentz on a rookie deal, right? And they were able to fill up the roster with some good quality players. Somewhere along the line, Kelsey's going to retire. I mean, he's 35, 36. He's not going to, he ain't going to play much longer, right? This could be his last season. He might have retired last season if they won the Super Bowl. So he's only going to be around for another year. This might be his last season. I'm saying, but, they're going to start losing some guys because I said, once Jalen Hurts' contract goes up to, well, let's see, this is interesting here. Let's see here. Philadelphia Eagles, because I can't stand Philadelphia. Philadelphia Eagles salary. Cap. All right. Here we go. I do spot track. I can just read this better here. So what is Jalen? Let's see here. Yeah, and DeVonta Smith, his salary. I mean, once, in a couple of years, he's going to want probably 20, 25 million. When he gets 25 million, they're going to have to draft somebody because they can't keep AJ Brown AJ Brown too. I mean, I mean, let's see, A.J. Brown. This is so we're changing thing over to the Eagles here. A.J. Brown. Next season, his cap hit will be 12, and then in 2025, looks like his cap hit is going to be $26 million. Yeah. So I mean, so I mean, he might only be here for another year or so. A.J. Brown. He seemed to be getting a little pissed off with their offense. Let's see here. I mean, Lane Johnson. I mean, Lane Johnson. Let's see here. His cap hit's only $14 million. I heard they redid his contract. Let's see here. Oh, he's $20 million. Okay, $20 million. Let's see now. I got to find Jalen Hurts. Where is Jalen Hurts at here? Okay, Jalen Hurts, $6 million this season. Let's see what's his. Because he's just signed that big one here. Okay, next season, yeah, okay. 2023, his cap hit. Next season, it goes up to $13 million. Then it goes up to 21, then it goes to 31, then it goes to 45. Potential out in 2028. Yearly cash. Yeah, I'm a little confused there because they has like his cap hit is $13 million, but it says his yearly cash is $40 million. A little. Let me see here. Jalen Hurts here. Once again, because I just can't stay in the Eagles. Let's see. Let's try over the cap here. Maybe, I don't know. Jalen Hurts, okay. Let's see, Jalen Hurts. Okay, he's making $6 million this year. He's the $6 million man. But, hold on. It's not let me. Okay, hold on. Let me go to 2024. I mean, somewhere along the line, his salary's got to jump up. Jalen Hurts. Next year is $13 million. His cap hit. 2025. And it's $21 million. But he was given like a signing bonus too and all that. But I'm saying once his salary starts going up, I mean they'll start losing some guys and stuff like that and everything. But I said we'll have a hard time beating the Eagles. I mean without question. I mean especially my point was if you figure right away. Right now, they're fighting for their, for the division. They're fighting for a play, spot. The only way they could would be like, just want to say somewhere along the line, like if they, the final game of the season, if the Giants are playing them at home, right? If the Eagles, for somehow, say they wind up winning the division, okay, and they win the division, and they say their playoff spot is kind of set in stone, just say, right? And the final game of the season, just say they have. They don't need, to win the game. All right. Say they're set in stone and they don't, I said, and they rest their starters, just saying. Okay. Then the Giants, I could see possibly maybe having some type of, a chance maybe in the final game, against the Eagles. But I mean, I have a hard time, because we're still not at their level. Once again, you got to play the games. It is what it is. But I mean, it would be huge especially for the game against the Rams, if we can get Darren Waller in there, that would wind up being huge to get him in there, But also, let's see here. The athletic receiving tight end was supposed to be centerpiece of the Giants offense after the team traded a third-round pick to the Raiders. He's since had 36 catches for 384 yards and 1 touchdown, though much of that was while playing through injury. His return could boost the Giants as they remain long shots in the playoff hunt. Now, he basically played, I think it was like in 8 games. He had 36, so he was on pace to have at least 75 receptions, and if he played the whole season, which he's probably never going to play that ever again. But he was on pace for over about 75 receptions and over 800 yards receiving. That would have been huge for the New York Giants, right? The team would have to make a roster move to free up a spot once they formally activate Waller. The team placed Waller on injury reserve on November 4th after he spent weeks playing through a hamstring injury suffered early in the season. So even when he was playing, he was still aggravated by the hamstring injury. So he basically has almost been hardly ever himself, right? But once again, when he comes back next season, hopefully, right, it's going to be the same thing. Unfortunately, Waller said on Tuesday that he would expect to be available for a limited number of snaps on Sunday if activated. So he'll be on a pitch count. Maybe you can get him in there for 15, 20 snaps. That would be huge, right? So Thursday, the injury report on Thursday, you got Cordell Flott with the shoulder. All these guys were limited. Dexter Lawrence with his hamstring. Good. Give Sexy Dexy off as much as that freaking guy wants. Evan Neal with his ankle. A'Shawn Robinson with his hamstring and a finger. Isaiah Simmons with an ankle, and Darren Waller with his hamstring. Full participation was Paris Campbell with his knee and Azeez Ojulari with his shoulder. So, everybody was practicing, which is absolutely fantastic. Which, the way things been going with the Giants, to hear everybody practicing, not that everybody will be maybe playing, but just to hear that everybody was practicing, it's almost like mind-boggling. As I said, we don't know if Evan Neal will be lining up on Sunday. We don't know if Darren Waller will be lining up on Sunday, but it looks like almost everybody else will. Okay, if we can get those guys back, maybe against the Eagles, in 2 games from that would be huge, and maybe get Evan Neal. Because if Evan Neal missed, this would be his 31st game, and he's only played in 20. He's got the 2 things going for him, right? He's got to prove that he can play tackle, right, and he's got to prove he can stay healthy. Because you just can't go season after season after. We'll wait another season to see if when Evan Neal's healthy, we'll check him out as far as tackle. And if he doesn't stay healthy, we'll give him a pass, and we'll wait till the next season and wait for him to stay healthy. If you don't stay healthy, sorry, we don't need you. I said this before, because there's some tackle, and as I said, once again, you don't know what's going on with Shane and what's going on through his mind and all that. But I said, it's supposed to be a real good draft class, okay? As far as offensive linemen, some good receivers, some good quarterbacks, right? But I just keep saying it's a shame because you don't know what you have with Evan Neal. You don't know. You can come back. And maybe he could slowly, if you don't even know he can stay healthy, right? But maybe he slowly gets a little bit better and better. Maybe after another year, maybe next season, he starts, going better. Okay, well, he won't be an all-pro, but, he could be an adequate right tackle for us. Okay, all right, But you don't know. So the thing is, I'm just so and sick and tired of just messing around, tinking around with the offensive line. And I know you just can't wave a magic wand and just it's fixed. No, But it's like, I've been hearing, as I said, there's the tackle. I can't remember the guy's name from Penn State. I've said this a bunch of times, and Alt from Notre Dame. There's supposed to be some really nice tackles, almost like blue chippers, almost just like plug them in there and play them, and we'll see in 10 years, right? just you're there, and Andrew Thomas is over there. You know, I mean, because then right? I mean, Michael Schmitz has got to get stronger, right? He's got to get a little bit better. I mean, he's had an okay season, right? A rookie center. Maybe he's got to work on some strength, right? He's got it up here, right? He's got it here, and he's got it up here, which is huge. Okay, he's not he's a good physical specimen, he's wrestling and stuff like that and all, but sometimes he gets pushed back with bigger guys, so he's got to work on his strength. But I mean, if he's just a baby, right? So give him another year. Each year, if he gets a little bit stronger, works on his techniques and all that, he can be a very good center. Maybe not an All-Pro, Hall of Famer, but a very good center. So you got Andrew Thomas. You got yourself a center, right? I said, I mean, because of the Giants picking 6th, 7th, 8th, or one of those tackles falls to him, it's just because if you get him, you draft that tackle, throw him there for the most part. Now, once again, just because you're drafting somebody in the top 10, a.k.a. Evan Neal, right, doesn't mean they're going to be a plug-and-play player, right? But it just seems like a couple of these guys coming out are really highly regarded. Like you almost really feel pretty good if you get them and you throw them there. You got yourself a tackle, right? So then you almost know you got your 2 tackles in your center, right? And then you try to take, sorry, Evan, let's try you in at guard. We'll put you right next to Andrew Thomas. That might be a nice, right? Evan here, Andrew there, John Michael Schmitz, right? So then you might need one more guard. You can pick up a guard maybe in the second round or something, whatever. So right? But I mean, it would just be a shame because if you had a chance to draft one of those tackles, you would almost know you can throw him at right tackle and your tackle situation might be fixed. Almost. I mean, 80%, 80, 85%. With Evan Neal, it's 50-50. And it could be even worse. It could be 40 yeah and 60 no, because the 60 part no, right, is because you don't know if he can physically do it, because whenever he's been healthy, he's been torched because he's not, he can't, the speed's too fast for him, being on an aisle and all that. But that's one. And the other thing is, the guy can stay healthy. I mean, he's been injury riddled both seasons. Right? So it is what it is. All right. But then speaking of, Paris Campbell, he was injured, right? Where he had some kind of, a knee. But we might quite possibly be looking at the final 4 games of Mr. Campbell's career. It says Giants wide receiver Paris Campbell tells me this is from Pat Leonard, okay? Tells me he was shocked and hurt by his first career healthy scratch. He really didn't understand on Monday. Campbell was grateful that the Giants brass gave him the bad news on Sunday, more than 24 hours before the game, but said he didn't blindside him last minute. But that didn't make it any less frustrating for a respected vet who felt like he has been doing things the right way, adding a spark as a kick returner and always been a factor in some fashion his entire athletic career. I mean, it is probably, this is from G-Men HQ, exciting Giants offseason signing, all but guaranteed to leave in the coming months. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, you look, where we at here? He has, 20 catches on the season? 20 catches. He's only started in 3 games. The Giants brought him in for $5 million, right? I mean, you sign a guy for $5 million and basically, he has? He has 20 catches. How many runs he's got? He has 1.7 receptions a game. Excuse me. You sign a guy for $5 million so he gets 1.7. He gets 8.7 yards per game. 8.7 yards per game. You sign a guy for $5 million and he gets 8.7 yards a game. 1.7 catch. I mean, it's like you bring him in, it's like, you can't really use him. It's like, the one thing is that you can kind of look at it is that, to me, which made some sense, was because what happened last season? Injuries, right? Right, with the Giants, Waddle got injured twice. He caught one pass for 5 yards against the Titans, and then he missed some time, got injured. Then he comes back, had a great game against Detroit. Boom, season's over. In the slot, right? Sterling Shepard runs like 3 yards on a pass back. Boom, he goes down. His season's over. It's like, what? Nobody touched him. Did somebody shoot him? Do we have a gunman? And I mean, why is he down on the ground and he can't get what's going? I mean, maybe just a couple steps, boom, down. Season's over with. Absolutely unbelievable. So the Giants had some injuries last season with their wide receivers. So I can see, we got Sterling, we brought Sterling Shepard back, but Sterling, I'm going to get injured. Shepard, that's his middle name, right? He hasn't been injured this season because he really hasn't hardly played. But we had a bunch of injuries last season with the tight ends. The tight ends. Well, Daniel Bellinger too, but the wide receivers. So maybe that's why they brought him in. We figure maybe because Waddell's coming back off of his injury, right? Sterling Shepard's coming back off of his injury, so maybe those guys wouldn't be as good or whatever is effective. So maybe that's why we brought Campbell in. But I guess if I'm him, I'm thanks, guys. It's been fun. It's been real, but it has been real fun. Let me tell you what. So let's see. It says major changes are coming for the Giants next season as they shake up as needed for the roster. While the team has looked fantastic in recent weeks during the 3-game winning streak, that doesn't take away from the fact that several guys on both sides of the ball have been disappointments. When you talk about disappointing guys for 2023, you, of course, have to bring up veteran wideout Parris Campbell. When he was signed by general manager Joe Schoen during the offseason, people were hyped to see what he could do for this team. I mean, his speed, right? Only $5 million. Of course, his problem has been, he's had some injuries, right? But he stayed healthy. He stayed relatively healthy. But I mean, I just can't seem to find any use for him. However, Campbell's failed to do much of anything on the offense, and his season reached a new low point against the Packers. That's because Campbell was a healthy scratch from Monday Night Football. Yeah, that's not something that anyone was expecting for him at any point this fall. Nope, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He was not happy. Let's see here. So Campbell was brought in on the campaign, and Whitehead has been held to 20 receptions for 104 yards. So he's averaging 5 yards a reception. I mean, and no touchdowns in 12 games. Campbell had a career year for the Colts last season. He 63 catches, 623 yards, and 3 scores. And how he looked last year, the expectations were quite high for him with the G-men, but it's not the way it's been. Campbell was brought in on a 1-year contract. If he's healthy and not even active for games, it tells you that the writing's on the wall for the future of the team. This was supposed to be a prove-it year for Campbell, but everything that could go wrong has. Shane and company surely won't re-sign him this winter, and I'm sure Campbell wouldn't even come back even if they did try to re-sign him. I mean, I'm healthy and you're going to scratch me? Nah, no thank you. Campbell will have to find a new team to give him a shot to make plays for. He just never was able to take off for Brian Daboll. So whatever it was, whatever it is, it's, just not, just ain't working out. Just not working out. I said, it's a combination of a couple things or what, but it is what it is. So Parris Campbell, this is whether he dresses or not, these would be the final 4 games unless the Giants make the playoffs, but these would be the final 4 games for Parris Campbell. It's a shame because with his speed, he stayed healthy. He had a decent year last year. You kind of expected some things from him, but it hasn't panned out. Wan'Dale Robinson's looking pretty good, though, and you hopefully expect next season, since he's back from his injury, hopefully next season he'll be even a little bit better. right? But Wan'Dale's looking like a very good pick for the New York Football Giants in the second round. So that's good. So we got Slayton, right? We got Robinson. Hopefully we got to keep Hodgins. I'd hate to get rid of Hodgins, right? And we got Hyatt, right? It's a nice, a nice 4 guys to build around. I don't know if they're going to bring Sterling Shepard back, right? Campbell's gone. You can forget about him. But we really could use a dog. Need a dog. Give me somebody you can just, who you can throw the ball to on any play. The Giants need a freaking dog. Now, the thing is, if you go and get a dog in free agency, it's going to cost you $20 to $30 million. They don't have a boatload. They got money, but between trying to maybe bring Saquon back, right, signing their draft class, I mean, they can go out and they can get themselves maybe a nice free agent, or but they can't go hog wild crazy. I mean, unless they start finagling some numbers and everything like that. So, but I mean, if they could get themselves, I said, if they can get them, bring Saquon back, right, and get those guys, the wide receivers, but get themselves a dog, like an Odell Beckham, somebody like that. I know it's easier said than done, but somebody on every play. I mean, we got Hyatt, right, but somebody else. That would be huge, absolutely huge. Then I was hearing about Isaac Yiadom. I was like, anybody remember Isaac Yiadom? The Giants had him, 2020? Where are we? Isaac Yiadom. Let's see here. Bam, Isaac Yiadom, right? And the Giants traded for him, too. Had him one season. Isaac Yiadom was traded to the Giants for a 2021 7th-round draft pick. So the Giants had him in 20, and they traded around traded away a 7th-round pick for him. He was here for one season and let him go. Now the thing was, he wasn't like, what would you say, super. I mean, he wasn't super special, but he wasn't super duper horrible. But it was just kind of odd because they traded for him in. I don't know. Gettleman did it, and Judge and Patrick Graham didn't really want him, or I don't know. But he played 10 games for the Giants, or he started in 10 games. Let's see here. Let's see here. Isaac Yiadom. Oh, I'm sorry. He played in all 16 games. He started 10 games for the Giants, okay, in 2020. Now, as I said, just kind of odd. You trade away a 7th-round pick for a guy, right? He plays in all the games. He starts 10 of them for you. He wasn't super duper horrible, but if anything worse, he was he was an experienced player. Some at least worse comes to worse, some quality depth. Right? He played one season here and he was gone. So they trade away a 7th-round pick, and just the 7th-round pick's gone. Yiadom's gone. It's like. Now, he hasn't had, like, amazing, what would you say, numbers, shall we say, okay? But this season in particular, let me tell you, because I heard that the Saints play a lot of, man-to-man, right? And that's what Wink does, right? Now, once again, if Isaac Yiadom, when Shane and Dable came here, if Yiadom was still on the team and all of that stuff, they have no ties to him. You don't know. It is because it's like, he's not my guy. I don't want him. Doesn't mean it necessarily can't be a good player, right? But it's just like, no, he's not my player. I don't want, So you don't know if the Giants would have kept him anyway. Shane and Dable would have kept him anyway. But I'm saying this one season here, with the Saints, his defensive grade is 85.4. His coverage grade, 84.4. His run defense is 79.7, and his tackling is 74.8. Now, don't get me wrong. This season by far is his best season ever. Okay. But he's, let's see, hold on. Excuse me, hold on one second. What do we got? He's got a 46.2% completion percentage. They've thrown the ball his way 26 times. He's given up 12 completions. 46% completion percentage. Pretty good. Right? Let's see. He's given up 9.3 yards of reception, right? The longest play he's given up was 29 yards. He's given up 2 touchdowns, and he's had 1 interception, and he's had 8 pass breakups. He apparently had 3 of them this past week against Carolina. It looks like he's played in every game pretty much, and he's graded out 85.4 overall. Absolutely fantastic. Now, with the Giants, he graded out a 56.8. His run defense was a 68.4. His coverage grade was a 52.1. His pass rush was an 82.1. But his tackling was a 50.5. So, I mean, it's very middle of the road. Very, very middle of the road. But it was just, my point was that it's just, I heard, I mean, like, it was interesting, like, Corey Ballantyne, remember him? The 6th-round pick it was from 2018 or 19, whatever he was, right? He played with the Packers. Remember, he's the one that scooped up Saquon's fumble and started running it down the field, right? So he's on the Packers, right? But Isaac Yiadom. I mean, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever happened to him? Yeah. So we had him for 1 season. We traded away a pick for him. Had him for 1 season. Now he's on the Saints, and he's I think he's like leading the league. I think. I can't remember what it was. They said he's leading the league with at least 150 pass plays or something like that. 46% completion percentage. He's given up 46%. And he was on the Giants. Now, once again, if he was with the Giants, does that mean he would be giving up 46% completion percentage this season with the Giants? That doesn't mean that. But my point is that, they were talking about him, and they were talking about, New Orleans seems like a lot of man-to-man, right? And that's what Wink does. I mean, that's some man-to-man. And that's what Isaac Adams apparently been doing. And he's only given up 46% completion percentage. And the Giants had him for a 7th-round pick. 1 season, gone. But that kind of goes to show it all kind of everything ties together. I mean, it's like, every 2 years a new coach, every so often another general manager. You just shooting yourself in the foot because you get some guys in, right? And then you got a new coach comes in. He looks at these guys. These aren't my guys. I don't want any of these players. Or the 53 guys on the roster. There's like 13 I might want to keep. The other 40 you can get them at. So they got to bring in their guys, right? 2 years later, the ship goes down, right? That coach gets fired. The new coach comes in. He looks at the 53. He's like, yeah, I'll keep 13 of them. The other 40, right? And it goes with everything. A GM, a coach, even like, somewhat coordinators. It's you kind of hoping like Wink Martindale, hopefully he winds up staying around, hopefully out of whatever it is, if there was, who knows exactly. But I mean, if Dable and Wink can maybe work out whatever differences they have or whatever. I don't know. It kind of be nice to see, Wink, right? Because, you draft somebody like Deonte Banks, right? His size, but he's a good man-to-man. Well, they bring in a new defensive coordinator. He might want to play zone. Remember like Patrick Graham. I seen like with Patrick Graham, a lot of it we were kind of like, drop back in coverage, right? I remember I was like, it might have been my first season when I was doing the Giant. I was doing his YouTube channel when I Judge and Patrick Graham. the Giants were giving up like 78, 77, 79% completion for the first few weeks of the season, I think it was. I'm like, we're giving up almost 80% completion percent. What the is going on? It's like, are you kidding me? But a lot of it seemed like with Patrick Graham, maybe we drop back a little bit, right? Nothing deep, nothing over our heads, right? Keep, stay back, eyes on the quarterback, right? Right? They throws a pass, right? We know where it's going, right? No, we don't have our backs to anybody or anything or whatever in front. They thought it maybe complete the pass. We run up, make the tackle, right? And we want them to march 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 plays all the way down the field to score a touchdown. And it's very difficult to do that. So that was kind of maybe a Patrick Graham kind of thing. So but I'm saying, but we drafted Banks, because Wink wanted them. Well, not Wink, but I mean everybody. But Wink was very happy that we got Banks, right? Because in Wink's system and all that stuff and everything now allows Wink to do some things that he really likes to do because we got Banks. Well, if for whatever reason, if Dable and they're button heads for whatever reason, and you gotta let Wink go, right? And well, I'm sure most defensive coordinators coming in won't be dissatisfied with having Banks there, but if he's if he's a good man-to-man guy, but somebody might come in and want to start doing some more zone or something, and it's like, well, it's not that he can't use them, but it's you bring somebody in and their philosophy is different, So I just hope they can figure out whatever frick's going on with them, but. I was just kind of like, I was like, damn, Isaac. They were talking about how good Isaac Yiadom's doing this season. I was like, damn, we had him a few years ago, and we traded for him too. It's not like he was a free agent. We brought him in. It was a 1-year prove-it deal. Okay, you weren't too good. We'll let you go. No, we traded for him. It was a 7th-round pick, right? But now, now we don't have the 7th-round pick, and we don't have Isaac Yiadom either. It's like, what are we? We traded him for 1 year. It's like, what are we doing? What the? Nowadays those draft picks are like gold. A 7th-round pick. We still got ours, right? We got our 7th-round picks, right? We just don't draft them and just get rid of them. When I first started, watching football back in the 70s and all of that, they made like 18 rounds or whatever they wound up having. Well, like out of the 18 rounds or whatever it was, 4 of them might have made the team. The other 14 are gone. They don't just keep them around just for the heck of it, So, you had a bunch of guys that just didn't make the team. A lot of them just didn't even make football, period. And it wasn't even so much the Giants. It wasn't like the Giants cut them and a lot of them went to the Saints or the Cardinals, something like that, and they had a good career. No, a lot of them just couldn't even play football, period, in the pros. But nowadays they're like gold. So you get you get a 7th-round pick. You want that dude to be on your roster for at least 4 years. You get him. He's cheap, right? You draft him to fill a role. You try to develop him as best you can, and then after 4 seasons, then you kind of make your choice. 3 or 4 seasons, he's not gonna cut it. We gotta get But if you can develop him. Right, you got to have these cheap guys on your right. You can't pay everybody $35 million a season. It's just can't happen. You got to have those lower cost guys, right, for good quality depth and special teams play and stuff like that. You got to have those guys, right? And we traded away 7th-round pick in the 2020 draft. So 20, 21, 22, 23. So this would be that 7th-round pick, right? If it was a okay pick, we'd still be on the roster this season. You've been on the roster last season. No, we don't have either. We don't have Isaac. At worst comes to worst, there'd be some quality depth. It's just kind of odd. You get these guys that come in. Maybe they don't set the world on fire, but maybe they got some experience, a decent depth and all that, and you just let them go and they go to another team. And then you bring somebody else in. And then that person doesn't, and you let him go and you bring somebody. Meanwhile, these other guys you're letting go are on other teams doing a decent job. As I said, this season, Isaac Yiadom's doing a very good job for the New Orleans Saints. And he was on our team. But it is what it is. Then finally, I seen this here. The Saints run defense versus the Giants running game. Interesting. Saints' poorest run defense must meet challenges of Giants' top weapon. So, the Saints, what they have going, for them would be their pass defense, okay? But their run defense is a little susceptible. It's kind of like with the Packers' run defense, right? So the Giants can certainly try to, capitalize on maybe a weakish Saints run defense. It says that at 6-7, the Saints are somehow tied for first place in the NFC South and need a win to keep division title hopes alive. The Giants have won 3 straight, blah, 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 blah. New Orleans beginning of the year strong defensively, but this unit has faded badly over the second half of the season. The Saints ranked 13th in total defense, giving up an average of just 20 points a game, which is very good, and only 321 yards per contest. But their pass coverage remains strong, but their absence of a pass rush and collapsing of the run defense has been crippling. They only have like 20 some odd sacks, I think, on the season. So, but their coverage is very good. Giants come in one of the worst offenses in the league. New York ranks 31st in total offense with just 14.1 points per game and only 267 yards of offense. I mean, there's teams out there that average almost 267 yards and a half, and we're getting 267 yards of offense in a game. You know how pathetic 267 yards of offense is? My God. The Giants also down to their third quarterback this year and ranked 31st on third downs and 29th in the red zone efficiency. New York still has some intriguing offensive weapons, including an explosive running back. Maybe you've heard of him, Saquon Barkley. Let's see. The Giants average 115 yards per game on the ground, ranking 14th in the league. So right around in the mid-range right there. They've managed only 6 rushing scores, though, which ranks 27th, but are coming off of a season-high 209 yards on the ground in a victory over Green Bay last week. Saquon Barkley is not only the focal point of the offense, but often has to shoulder the attack all by himself. Despite the defensive attention, Barkley still averages 4.2 yards a carry and has 783 yards rushing. So, he has a chance of getting 1,000 yards. Right? He needs, what would that be? 217. So that's doable. That's very doable. He only has one 100-yard game, though, but 5 others with at least 75 yards out. Barkley is an explosive game-breaking threat, but also has excellent vision and good feel for rushing lanes. He's most effective in space, but he has the power to pick up extra yardage after contact. Let's see here. Then, of course, Matt Breida, he has 141 rushing yards, but no touchdowns, but his average is just 2.7 yards a carry. So that way you might think maybe next season Gray might get a little more action in there, see what he can do. The Saints have given up 131.5 yards on the ground and 4.6 yards per carry. That's not good at all. That ranks 26th in the NFL, but they've been absolutely porous in the last 8 games. Over that span, opponents have picked up 156.5 rushing yards, which is the worst mark in the NFL. They've not allowed a 100-yard rusher, but 5 players have managed at least 65 yards. So, Barkley might have a hard time getting 100 by himself, but I mean, if DeVito, can do a little bit of scrambling, maybe they can do some stuff what they did with Wan'Dale Robinson last week against the Packers. Breida had a couple good runs, right? New Orleans has gotten blown off the ball by several opponents, especially on the edge. Carl Granderson is having a good season as a pass rusher and is outstanding in pursuit of the ball. However, Granderson has often been overwhelmed when teams run right at him. Cameron Jordan is still a terrific run defender, but Jordan's reps have been severely limited because of a badly injured ankle. Then they got another guy, Foskey, Bond, are solid but not big difference makers. Defensive tackles Nathan Shepard and Brian Brzee have been an upgrade at the position over the last year. However, the two have combined for just 6 tackles for loss, despite fairly consistent penetration. Each have to make more stops on backs behind the lines of scrimmage. They got Demario Davis. That guy's number 56. That guy's like a tackle machine. He's absolutely fantastic. He's been in the league for 12 years. He's really, really good. So what you want to watch, if New Orleans is to win the game, they'll have to be far less porous against the run. 4 of the Saints' last 6 opponents have run for over 150 yards against them, with 2 exceeding over 200 on the ground. Shutting down Barkley will be a primary goal for New Orleans. See, that's the thing, is we're having Waller in there, because if they're going to, Saquon's back there, right? He's going to draw attention that way, and then having Waller, free him up a little bit, in the passing game. Saints have given up several big gains on the ground, and Barkley has the explosiveness to turn a small crease into a long touchdown run. Defenders must also remain disciplined against Barkley's dynamic cutback ability and prevent DeVito from making plays with his legs as well. The Saints must stalemate the line of scrimmage and get penetration to prevent Barkley from hitting the line at full speed, which is huge. Winning those matchups will allow Davis and Warner to burst to the ball to hold Barkley to short gains. Doing so will put more emphasis on DeVito and the New York's passing attack that has performed poorly all season and at least contained Barkley, the Giants' top weapon. Well, I mean, they've done poorly, but I mean, they haven't just said, okay, Tommy, you're going to go out there and you're going to throw the ball 87 times today. Just every play, we're just slinging it. I mean, against the Jets, he threw the ball 9 times or something like, this past week against the Packers, threw the ball 21 times. They haven't had him throwing the ball a lot. So, I mean, the Giants, I mean, their passing game really hasn't been, but they're not asking them to throw the ball a lot at all. And once again, it's going to be a combination of it. The Giants definitely got to make plays in the passing game. DeVito's definitely got to make, what he did a little bit like against Green Bay here. Scramble, get some first downs, keep the chains moving a little bit, but also keep handing it to Saquon. Now, as long as you can stay in the game, the game, it's got to be dictated. Obviously, you can't be down 27-3 in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Hey, let's establish that run. Let's hand it off to Saquon. Okay, we'll go 3 and out, but we're still established. No, you can't. I mean, they got to be within striking distance or ahead, tied, whatever, right? But it's what they did Monday night against the Packers. Was it at the end of the third quarter, somewhere around there? Barkley had 31 yards on 15 carries, 2.1 yards per carry. It's like, what the is going on? But they kept giving it to him. They gave it to him, I think it was like another 5 times. But that's when he had, I think it was the 16th carry, but it was in the fourth quarter. I think he got like a 15, 18-yard run or something. Got almost out to midfield. Right? They kept, then they gave it to him a few more times, but remember the other one, of course, was on the fumble, but it was, he got 30-something yards on that one before he fell down and fumbled it. But, you want to stay disciplined. You want to keep giving it to him, even if it's like he's not getting any yards, you got to, because in the first quarter, the holes are this big. Second quarter, the holes are this big. Third quarter, the holes are this, whatever. And you keep pounding it, keep pounding it. The holes, sooner or later, there's a good chance the holes will get nice and big. But you got to stay disciplined. But, staying disciplined and staying, you got to stay in the game too. So sometimes, you want to stay disciplined and you want to keep hitting it with the ball. But, if you can't stay in the game, so. But I mean, the way the Giants have been playing on defense, and their offense is the Saints' offense has really not been doing that good. They have to do a good job of shutting Kamara down, right? But I think the Saints' offense has not been doing too good. I think the Giants certainly can stay in this game without question. I mean, obviously they can't be turning the ball over. DeVito, I don't want put no curses on nothing like that or anything like that, but we can't be turning the ball over, no interceptions or nothing like that. Can't give the Saints a short field. And last week against Carolina, they blocked a punt and they scored that for a touchdown. You can't do stuff like that, right? So it's a very winnable game for the Giants. So, all right, guys, been 58 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. If anybody spends any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.